Welcome to GameRomp Easy Mode, a chill, easygoing podcast about video games and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, other stuff that is also related to video games.
Or not, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes anime and movies.
Or airport pathers.
Yeah, for some reason. Okay, well.
I'm one of your hosts, Deanna.
Oh, yeah, and I'm David.
So, do you have video game things to talk about this time?
I want to talk about live service games.
Oh, God.
And the millions of updates they do that make it so it's kind of confusing to go back and play them.
Okay, this sounds specific, so please let us all know what brought this up.
So, I just figured I wanted to go back and try Fallout 76 again. Get the new update with all the new areas. And, yeah, so Fallout 76, last time I played it, didn't have that update with the... I don't know what the new region is called, but it's south of the map. It's the first time they've expanded the map. And it's kind of exciting because out of all the Fallout games, honestly, Fallout 76 map is probably the best.
Now, when you say expanded the map, you mean like when you're in the overworld, the general area and nature, that it's expanded to like... Because I thought they expanded it previously with a different map, but you had to like go outside or...
Yeah,
like,
you had to
whatever.
take a vertibird and it's basically a loading screen.
Okay, yeah.
So that was like... Fallout 76 takes place in West Virginia. The other ones were, I think, Pittsburgh and New Jersey. I forget the name of that city. Do you know that the New Jersey city famous for casinos?
Oh, Atlantic City.
That's it, yeah. So they weren't connected to the map. But this new region is just an expansion to the West Virginia map. So you can just walk and it's seamless. It's part of the map now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, a whole new open world to explore. And that's the other thing. Like, the other ones weren't open world. They were kind of like
Isolated
dungeons.
sections.
Yeah. I mean, there was like outside sections to them, but it was basically just like dungeons, basically. Even if some of them were like outside and interconnected. So I wanted to get into this new map and see what was up with it. Because, I mean, I had nothing else to play right now. I'm not going to finish Terra Enigma. And...
You can only update us so many weeks in a row on
the SnowRunners, yeah. I also had seen news about Fallout 76 that a lot of the perks were updated. And that was another big thing that I wanted to try. Because, okay, here's a bit of a tangent, sort of. In Fallout games, you have perks, which are basically like skills. So imagine like skill points in Skyrim or other RPGs, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them are independent of your combat abilities. Like, maybe you're good at bartering, or maybe you're good at taming animals or whatever.
Yeah.
But some of them are literally just, you do 20% more damage with rifles. You do 20% more damage with pistols. I never really liked those kind of skills. Something like that almost makes sense in a game like Skyrim, where like, oh, if you trained up in this, you do 20% more damage with your sword because now you're just better at holding a sword and swinging it, or maybe you're stronger or whatever, right?
In some sense, but it doesn't really make sense that you have to specifically pick that. It should be something that comes along with the level of like, ooh, your skill in two-handers has gone up, so now you automatically get this.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think Skyrim kind of has it both ways, where like the more you use a weapon, the more that skill increases, but then it still has like the skills that just give you a flat bonus to it too. So you can kind of have the best of both worlds, where like you can use this weapon a lot and get better at it, and you're just kind of naturally better at using it, but you can also train further to like boost it even further because you're like deliberately training versus just naturally getting better at it.
I mean, I guess, but like it feels like if you're specifically training something, so you're picking a perk skill, that skill should be something not like, ooh, it increased damage by 20%, but like, oh, you can now use this new technique, like spin around or something.
Yeah, that I can agree with that. I guess the way I view it is somebody who, say, draws all the time. They just like drawing and they draw all the time. They're going to be eventually pretty good at it, maybe not like a super master, like someone who draws all the time and actually studies and does anatomy studies, right? So same for somebody who's cooking. If I cook every day, I'm just going to get naturally better. But still, if somebody's actually like reading about like different techniques, they're going to get even better. So it's kind of like both naturally training and like in-depth training.
I suppose.
Anyway, back to Fallout. The thing with Fallout, they don't have a system like that. Theirs is literally just you put a perk point and you get a little bit better. Now, the older Fallout games had like a numerical system, like a 0 to 100, and like every time you level, you get like 20 or 17 or 15 skill points depending on your intelligence. And then you would slot those into like sneak or pistols or charisma or whatever, right? You would like just slowly get better. In Fallout 4, they introduced the perk card system, or the perk system, where it's just a flat like 20% each time, which is not as good in my opinion.
I think the other, forgive me if you were going to bring this up at some point anyways, but another problem with the perks for me in Fallout 76 specifically is, at least in Skyrim, all the perks you can get are already like set in stone, and you have access to them once you get to that particular level or you unlock the skill before it.
Yeah.
In this, it's like, yeah, if you're lucky, if you get the card, then you can use that perk.
It's I can see how you would think that, especially early on.
Or is every pack not actually random? You get it. Everyone gets the same cards at the same time.
In Fallout 76, every time you level up, you get to pick one special, right? I think that's true until level 50. At level 50, you've already reached your cap of special points. Every time you pick a special, you can pick a perk from that special. So if you pick strength, you can pick a strength perk. Although technically you can pick like intelligence and still pick like an agility perk or whatever. So you're not tied to it. But yes, every time you level up, you get to pick one perk card and one skill point. So you can choose which skill to increase and which perk to get. The thing is, I think it's in the beginning, like the first 10 levels, you get them a lot more often. You get perk card packs. And it's like a bundle of 5 perks and it's random.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me.
That can be kind of fun in the way of like, oh, I got a random perk that I probably wouldn't have normally picked, but since I just got it for free and I got room, maybe I'll slot it in. So there's a bit of fun in that in the early levels, but later on that doesn't really factor in because you'll have so many perk cards that you'll only slot in the ones you want.
I guess.
And on top of that, some of the perks are level gated in Fallout 76, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did notice some of those already.
Now, in some of the other Fallout games, levels or perks can be gated not by your level, but by your strength or by your special. So, for example, if a certain perk needs 10 intelligence, you can only use that perk if you have 10 intelligence. Whereas
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
In Fallout 76, that doesn't exist. It's more about, like, are you the right level for this perk to be unlocked?
Yeah, I think there was one, which I'll go into later, that like I played a little bit of 76 while you're waiting for the perk update to finish updating.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten to talking about that yet, but yeah.
But one of the perks was like, I think it was all like trash or scrap items or whatever you want to call them, reduce their weight by 50%, but I couldn't use that perk card until I reached level 7, which granted did not take long at all. It's only level 7, but I did notice that.
Yeah.
Like, but why?
Yeah, that's, I guess because some of the later perks can be really powerful. I don't know, it's weirdly balanced, but like once you hit level 50, it's basically all moot. You can just use whatever. And again, you level up really fast in the beginning. I guess it's just to slowly introduce you to the system so you don't get too overwhelmed with all the new cards. Because that is something that kind of happens. So, okay, going back to what I was saying, I had heard that there was an update. And the update was basically unlinking your damage to those perk cards. Because again, going back to what we were saying before, like, okay, sure, maybe if you are training as a swordsman, a trained swordsman is going to be better than an untrained swordsman. But if somebody's holding a pistol and they shoot you with the pistol, that bullet is going to do the same amount of damage if it hits in the same spot as somebody who's a trained armsman. Now, the trained armsman will have like better aim, obviously.
Yeah.
But aim is not something they factor into the skills for the modern Fallout games. It actually was something they took into account in Fallout 3. Because in Fallout 3, the better your gun skills, the better your aim. But a lot of people don't like that because like, oh, I'm using my mouse and I'm aiming perfectly at the character, but I missed. And it's like, yeah, that's because your character's skill isn't as good as as your mouse aiming.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense, really. I mean, even if I'm holding a ball and I'm looking at the 3 jugs that I want to knock over, when I go to throw it, even though I think I'm aiming right, if I'm not skilled at it, I can miss, right? That can be the same with guns. Like, that's why people train their firearm aiming. You can think you're aiming and, like, shoot and still hit the little, mannequin or paper target in the wrong spot. But players just don't like that in video games. They feel like, okay, if I'm aiming, it should just hit. And
I mean, it's within reason because, okay, obviously I haven't even, like, fucking physically touched a gun in real life, never mind actually using one. But assuming that the sight in the gun is working correctly, you should be able to look down at the little scope bump thing, whatever the fuck it's called. And if you're looking at the target and you shoot the gun, it should hit where you pointed it, right?
I mean, I don't know. I've never fired a gun either, but there is those shooting ranges for a reason, and not everyone magically hits the target perfectly, even though I would assume most people, take that into consideration.
I mean, there's recoil and stuff.
There's recoil, and even just like, even if you think you're holding it right, I mean, you can hold out your hand in front of your face right now and have your thumb up and think you're aiming at the thing, like, properly. But, like, are you? Because if you move your head even a little bit, then, like, that changes the angle. So it's going to depend on how you hold your arm out, how you hold the gun, the perfect angle, how you're viewing it, down the scope. It's probably not as simple as you would imagine. So I can see how, like, in a game, your character should, in my opinion, have less skill aiming versus the bullet magically doing less or more damage.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is right now in Fallout. Like, if you have no perks in rifles, you can aim perfectly, but the bullet is just going to do, like, half the damage as somebody that has their perks maxed out.
That being said, if you're shooting a gun and say your aim is a little bit off and you don't hit the target exactly where you... I'm just thinking, like, could you theoretically say that the gun does more damage the higher your skill in it does? Not because the bullet somehow becomes magically stronger, but the fact that you actually hit the target in a place that does more damage than someone hitting elsewhere.
You would think that, but Fallout already takes limb damage into account. So if you hit somebody in the arm, their arm takes damage and will do a certain amount of overall HP damage. Damage to the body or whatever body you hit is already taken into account. So if somebody with a gun that has never used a gun before is just shooting randomly next to a guy who's like a trained armsman, if they both hit the head, whether it be by luck or not, it's going to do the same damage. And it should do the same damage. That's the thing about Fallout, at least, this modern version, where it's like, you're not training how good you are at using the gun because we're all using, game pads or mouse. You're just doing more damage. And I never liked that because not only is it less realistic, it limits what you can use. So, for example, in Fallout 76, if I put like 9 of my skill points into rifles, when I pick up a new rifle, this new rifle is better than my old rifle, and like the damage will obviously scale to it too, like because I'm good at using rifles. But if I pick up a pistol, that should be a really good pistol or an automatic rifle, like a machine gun or whatever.
Yeah, it shouldn't be based on pistols versus shotguns versus whatever the fuck else there is. It should be like all guns do the same scale at the same level.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Because right as it is right now, if you are somebody that's really like, if you put your perks into heavy guns, so you're good at holding a minigun. If you pick up like a regular, like, I don't know, AK-47 or something, some like semi-automatic rifle, you're not going to do as much damage. Even though like the bullets should do the same amount of damage. It's just the way the skills in this game work, it doesn't... So it kind of limits you, and that's the thing I was going to get at. The way this game handles the damage calculations, it limits you later on, and it becomes less fun because if you pick up a cool new weapon, if it's not your weapon type, you're not going to do good damage. Now, in the beginning of the game where you're playing, or early levels, you don't have enough perk points that it makes a huge difference. So you can really just swap around between like, oh, I got a pistol, and oh, I got a sniper rifle, and oh, I got like this.
I haven't put enough skills into any of them to make any difference.
Yeah, so they're all kind of like on an even playground, and it's fun to like find a new weapon and be like, ooh, this is fun to try. Let me try this laser rifle out. It'll be just as good as, the sniper rifle I have. It's just a different type of firing, a different type of ammo, and like,
Although
that makes it fun to experiment, which you don't get later on when your perks are kind of set in stone and the damage is tied to your perks.
I guess. But now that I think about it, okay, I don't know how much... This is two people that have never touched a fucking gun in their lives. Or have you?
No.
Okay. We've never touched a gun in our lives. So, us arguing over this, if anyone listening to this has actually used guns and gone to a range, is probably fucking raging at us right now.
Really? I don't think we're saying anything off base here.
Well, I'm just saying if there's like technicalities. Anyways, my thinking now is, okay, maybe there's not a huge difference between using a shotgun and looking down the rifle aim or whatever, and using a pistol and looking down the rifle aim and stuff like that. But when you brought up the machine gun. Now, in Fallout, I'm assuming, I don't know if this works the same in real life, but in Fallout, you kind of hold it like at hip, right? You're shooting from the hip.
There's two fire modes. You can do hip fire or aim fire, yeah.
Okay, because if you're doing hip fire, I can see you doing less damage if you've been practicing looking down a fucking scope of a sniper rifle, because those are two different skill sets.
Less damage? I don't think it would do less...
If you're not hitting the target, you're doing less damage.
Yeah, but that's
because
not...
shooting from the hip is completely different than looking down the scope.
Yes, but that's not doing less damage because the bullet is doing less damage. It's doing less damage because you miss. So it's a 0 or 1. It's not like 20%, 40%, 60%, 70%.
I don't know, but it's not... Shooting someone is not a... Yes, if you don't hit them, then it's a 0. But you can hit them and have between 0 and 1.
Depending on where you hit them.
Yeah.
But that is already taken into consideration by the game. So if you're using a sniper rifle and you're aiming your best, but you still hit the arm, it's going to do arm damage. And if I'm holding... There are some rifles that can do automatic fire and semi-automatic, which is like one at a time, right? Basically, these guns can be modified into automatic fire or even like modified into sniper rifles. If they're shooting out the same, for example, .45 millimeter bullet, that .45 is going to do the same amount of damage regardless of which method of firing it was done in. Like, if it hits your leg, it's going to hurt just as much whether, like, somebody was spraying and praying or if somebody, like, directly aimed at it. That's what I'm saying.
I guess it's...
And that's what the game originally did not do well at calculating because, again, they were tied to perk cards. So, like... I'm really skilled at using, the automatic rifle, but if I find the same gun and it's set to, like, sniper mode, for some reason that same bullet is going to do, like, half the damage, which does not make any sense. Now, having said all that, the whole reason I bring it up is because they were changing that. They were changing it to the way I think is a lot better, where the guns will now do flat damage. Now, I thought that update had gone live already. Turns out that update is rolling around in June. So I'm going to hold off and play in June. That way I want to experience the game again in that new method. Those old perk cards that originally did, like, your rifle does 20% more damage are being completely rebalanced and renamed into doing other things. Now, you might have noticed they already have done this update to pistols.
I don't remember if I have any pistol cards yet. Because
they have been reworked. There are no more pistol damage cards. The pistols have already received this because people have complained
Would they still call them pistol cards, though?
I think they're called, like, Gorilla and, like, Desperado. Or they have, like, silly names like that. They don't just have... It's not just pistol. But,
because the only gun ones that I remember so far that I have is, like, Gunslinger or something.
Yeah, Gunslinger. I think that's one of them.
Oh, okay.
That used to be just a flat damage increase to pistol damage. But players have complained that pistols were always so underpowered that it made no sense to use those perk cards. So I guess Bethesda saw that, like, nobody's really using these. Let's just balance out the pistol damage and make it a sidearm that anyone can just use. So now they're a little bit more useful. And now those cards have been changed to do things like oh, if you're using small arms like a pistol or a rifle or a semi-automatic rifle, you'll do more damage at certain ranges, or you'll do more critical hit damage on limbs, or stuff like that. Instead of just being 10% more damage, 20% more damage with pistols, that has been removed. However, for rifles, automatic rifles, I think shotguns and heavy weapons and melee weapons, all that stuff is still in place. Those flat, like 20% more damage cards are still in place. But however, I guess they liked this update for pistols that they decided to just do that for all the weapons. So starting in June, when the next update in June, all those cards are going to be rebalanced. And now when you're playing the game, especially early on, every weapon you pick up will be worth experimenting with. Whereas originally, if like you're level 20 or whatever, and you've already put like 3 perks into pistols or rifles, and it's like, oh, my rifles do 30% more damage than every other type of weapon. Why would I use this other type of weapon?
Yeah, that's fair.
So it sucks when you pick up this cool like laser rifle, and it's like, oh, this is a laser rifle. It's not a pistol, so I'm not going to use it because my pistols do more damage. Now in the future, it'll be like,
But
you can use that laser rifle and experiment and play with it.
But couldn't you just switch your cards out when you get a new cool weapon?
You could, but then you have to go into the menus and like fiddle around with your perks. And some perks, for example, rifles were in perception and pistols were in agility.
Oh,
so you would have to switch around your special as well, which is not as easy to do. And you have to make sure you have the cards for it too, which means you would have to pick them when you're leveling up or just got lucky with the cards in the card packs. Now, in the future, you won't have to worry about that at all. And if you're just playing the game and you've got this favorite laser rifle that you've been using, it's like, oh, this is really fun. But then like you do a quest and somebody gives you a really cool sniper rifle, and you can just use it. It won't be like, oh, I can't use this because it's not my type of weapon. Now, there are also perks that will target certain weapons. Like I said, the gunslinger one, I think, it does just light arms. So that doesn't count for heavy weapons, like the Gatling guns or the heavy flamethrower, stuff like that. So I think the separation will be between heavy weapons, light weapons, and melee. But other than that, it's a lot more flexible. And I like that flexibility because when you pick up a unique weapon, you don't have to just throw it away. You can actually play with it and be like, do I like this or not?
Yeah.
So that is what I was excited about. And that's why I wanted to go back and play.
But now you gotta wait.
Yeah, however, I didn't realize that update didn't come out until next month. So I'm going to wait. But next month I will.
Do you know if there's anything else coming out with that update as well? Because I know they've had the ghoul update for a little while now, right?
Yeah, that was
Which I was excited about, and then it's like, oh, you have to be level 50, so...
That was a recent update, and I think you have to go to the new area that opened up, and there's like a whole quest line and storyline that, depending on your choices, could lead you to be ghoulified.
And I have to, like, intentionally ghoulify myself.
I don't know how the story works out in that situation, but yeah, there's a choice. I think there's a way to unghoulify yourself too, once, but I think after that one time, if you do it again, you're stuck.
I don't think they should allow that, but I guess that's just me being...
Maybe I'm misremembering or something, because I think a lot of people want to do, like, all the quests, and then, like, maybe they'll...
Well, then do all the human quests, and then finish up doing the ghoul quest.
Yeah, that's the thing about some of these RPGs, too. Like, I think we were listening...
Because, like, there's no precedent for ghouls being unghoulified in Fallout, so, like...
There's a precedent for being unsuper mutant.
I don't know. Maybe I guess they figured out new science or something.
I mean, it's all just silly mumbo jumbo anyway, so whatever. But
that would take a lot of plastic surgery, and it's not gonna take you back to what you looked like before.
Do you remember Virgil in Fallout 4?
The vague
super mutant that's in the glowing sea. If you help him and do his quest right, and then like later on you can come back and he'll be human again. Which again does not make a lick of sense, but whatever. So yeah, that is another thing about RPGs and games like this, where like some people just want to do all the quests, even if it doesn't really make sense, right?
Ugh.
It's like you realize if you do this quest, that's gonna have
accept the consequences.
Yeah, like it might have moral or ethical or even just physical consequences that like that's a thing. For example,
okay, here's a hot take. Even in video games, people should accept the consequences of their choices. They shouldn't do this. Like, oh, you can be this, and then you can switch to undo it so you can finish other things.
Yeah, and I was going to say you should be able to just say, no, I won't do this quest. Because, for example, in Fallout 76, one of the final quests basically involves you like going in and like launching a nuke yourself. And it's like, the whole point of this series is,
To prove that nukes are bad.
well, like, yeah, the horrors of nuclear war, and like, okay, it's kind of a goofy game too, so it's not too super serious every time, but like, it's still, this is what nuclear war can do or whatever, right? But in Fallout 76, you can just go wild and launch a bunch of nukes on West Virginia, and there's like no consequences for it.
Boo.
Like, it will create basically a radioactive zone for a while. And if you go in there, there's like a lot of the plants will be mutated, and there'll be a lot of strong enemies in there that are like super mutated and bad, right? Now, one of the bosses is tied to that, where you have to like nuke this fissure to bring out like a Scorch Beast Queen or something. But it's like, if you are a player who's playing this in an RPG way, you can just be like, no, this is fucked up. I'm not gonna, nuke this state or this land. Like, I don't know. It's just a thing, like doing everything the game has available to you, like doing the genocide run in Undertale, or being able to say like, no, I don't need to do that because it doesn't make sense for my character or for myself or whatever. But again, some people just want to do everything regardless because it's a game and it's just a big old amusement park ride.
Yeah. Now, if you launch a nuke, does your character get marked at all for doing such a thing so that other people can target you for being a piece of shit?
Well, I think if you launch a nuke directly at a player's base, maybe you get like a... No, I don't think you get punished for that. You can get a bounty put on you if you like intentionally try to kill another player or like steal their stuff or damage their base. But Fallout 76 has also given a new option to turn like pacifist mode on, basically, where there's no PvP. So you don't see that too much, except when like a newbie maybe accidentally steals from somebody's stuff. Because like if you're planting things at your base or you got like a water tower, you can lock it. And sometimes people don't realize that if you pick a player's lock, that marks you as a thief, and then like you get a bounty on your head. But other than that, there's really not too much PvP in Fallout 76 anymore because most people just didn't like it.
Yeah, that's fair. And like, there was actually, I forget if it was the last time I played or not, but there was one point where I'm just roaming around trying to vaguely do quests, and I get to this point where there's, I guess the settlers have made like this like structure on the side of a cliff or something, because there's just a ton of levels of stairs to go up and down, and it's all wooden and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then I get to the bottom of the wooden structure, and there's more wooden houses, like not even a stone's throw away. So I go explore that, and it took me a few minutes to realize, oh, this is a player's area. Because I saw like silhouettes of people. But then when I got closer, they were mannequins. And I'm like, oh, okay. But you also have NPCs that walk around in your little area too. So I'm like, oh, this is just an extension, because it's like literally ass up against the settlers that are NPCs. So it took me a little longer to realize, oh wait, this is player stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing about Fallout 76 that I kind of don't like. It's tough because like it's nice to see that there's NPCs back and like they're building like lore friendly housing, but then you have your players that are playing, and because this is a live service game and they're trying to like make money, you can buy custom objects in the shop, and some players will just have like the most crazy outlandish just concrete blocks of houses, and it's like, oh, my house is a 4-story tall concrete block and it's filled with every little thing I bought from the shop. And it's like, dude, this brings me out of Fallout so much. Like,
Yeah.
If you're playing Fallout 3 or New Vegas or 4, you're never going to run into a house like that. But because, players are building it in Fallout 76, sometimes you'll just run into a player house and it's just gaudy and ugly, and I hate it. Whenever I build, even in Fallout 76, when I build my house, I try to make it look a little lore friendly.
Like a little cottage.
Yeah, like something somebody actually
Not like
could...
a fucking tower in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. But that's just one of the downsides of this kind of game.
I haven't looked too much into it, of course, but apparently now they have dogs and cats that you can buy in the shop. And I know, like, you can do, like, I guess daily quests or something to get more Atom points or something. So
Yeah.
maybe at some point, I'll look into, like, okay, how much would a cat cost to have at my base? And, like, save up for it or something. Because, like, most of the outfits are, yeah, either outlandish or don't really vibe what I would make my character into. So
Yeah.
there's, like, a lot of store things that I just don't give a shit about, but having a cat would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think most of the time when I spent my atoms, it was on decorations for the house, but like stuff that would make sense, like potted plants or whatever.
Yeah.
So things that would just feel like make a home and not just like this, I don't know, giant arcade machine or something.
Actually, yeah, and that one little player village, basically, because there was multiple little houses that they had built. One of them seemed to be like very arcade styled. There was multiple little arcade things you could kind of play, but also not really. It was confusing.
Yeah, some of them you can like use, and they might give you like a boost to your luck for like half an hour or something. And then also you can basically invite one NPC to your house. I don't know if that includes the pets or if the pets are in like a separate thing now, because I don't think.
I would assume the pets would be different because they're not doing NPC things.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you can technically pet them or not.
there were no pets last time I played, so that's something new to me. But as far as the humanoid NPCs, you can invite one, and like there's a few that are story related that you'll find quests for, and like you can invite them to your house, and then like they'll continue their quest line. Like one dude who's like he used to be a raider and he's trying to get out of it, but his like brother's still in the life or whatever. And this other lady who was like an astronaut, and like she's trying to like figure out what happened to the world since she was gone and stuff like that. But then you also have ones that are like less consequential, and they can be NPCs you just meet randomly out and about. And if you pass their speed check, you can be like, if you need to hang out somewhere, you can hang out at my place. And then they'll give you like daily quests at your house. But they aren't like story, they're more just procedurally generated quests that have like sometimes good rewards. And then there's also some that are unlocked either by events that are ongoing or in the shop. So for example, one of the ones I have is like this super mutant who really likes comics, and he'll be like, you put down his like furniture, he'll come by and he'll be like cooking and stuff, and he likes to cook meat, and he'll also talk about like all the comics that he likes. And like when
is that the super mutant that has the special events that happened, or
no, that's a different super mutant.
Oh, because you're like, he likes meat, so I'd maybe.
I mean,
all
to be
super
fair,
mutants
all
do.
super mutants like me. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a bunch of different ones like that. I think the super mutant is the one that I currently have at my house because they all give different bonuses too. So yeah, that's Fallout 76. You were playing it for a bit, huh?
A little bit.
It's funny because last time I played Fallout 76, you said, "Oh, let's play it together," and you played literally like once and never played it again. But this time
I
you're
have
actually
issues.
actually playing it a little bit more. So I guess I'm just the curse here for you.
No, it's a me thing.
Yeah, I know. But hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, I guess.
For the time being.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see how long it lasts, but I'm just trying to get through the quests that I've done like probably 5 times before, and I just need to get through that mess, and then I can finally start exploring things that like, oh, this is a new storyline, so it'll actually be interesting again.
Well, you could have just continued your old character too.
Yeah, but then it becomes that thing of like, oh, I've been away for so long, I have all this shit, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I have to like restart in my own way to like refresh my memory. But it's, I get the gist of all the quest lines that I've done before, so like, I don't know, it's
tough.
it's a me thing.
No, I mean, I get you. Even when again, live service game things, like when I would go back to Genshin Impact, like sometimes Genshin Impact would have like a new story, and because I loved, some of the stories, I'm like, oh, I want to see what this new land story is. But then it's like, oh shit, I gotta get reacquainted to the controls, all these stupid gotcha systems with like, you gotta level up this and level up that, and it's like, oh god, it's those first few like hours of getting back into a game like this can be such a chore. But
I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with that. Like, even if I wanted to, in the case of Palia or something, go back to that, the only way I could probably handle it, and Palia is even worse because once you create your one character, you can't delete that character. You're
Yeah,
just
that's
literally
messed up.
fucking stuck with them. So the only way I could get past my issue with that is if I like literally delete everything I have in my inventory, literally every machine I have from the house area, and just start as new as possible. But I don't know if I want to bother.
Nah, I don't think I could return to
And like
Palia.
I understand. Okay, it's a live service game, so they got to keep making money so they can keep the servers up. Blah blah blah. But Palia's prices for their clothing is outrageous.
Yeah.
It's not microtransactions anymore. It's macrotransactions, and I just don't want to deal with that.
No, I really don't like how they handled it. Because,
Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Fallout 76 has its microtransactions, and maybe some of them are not so micro, but
they give you atoms as you play.
I think that might be a difference where I don't know if Palia does that or not. I think it might literally just be you have to pay the full $30 for a fucking outfit or two.
Yeah, I really can't stand that kind of thing. Because, I mean, I know I've ranted about this before. It limits your excitement for the game. Like, okay, everyone has their own goals when they're playing games like this. Maybe you're a player who likes to customize their house. Maybe you're a player that likes to min-max. Maybe you're just someone that wants to do every quest. Maybe you're a player that likes to collect all the cool outfits. Well, if you like to collect all the cool outfits, you know what? Fuck you. You are not allowed to unless you pull out your wallet. And I don't like that. I don't like that because I am one of those players. Like in Monster Hunter, half the fun of defeating every monster is seeing what cool new armor you're going to build with the stuff you unlocked. And in games like Palia, like you just can't do that for like most of the outfits. So like this cool outfit that they made that maybe, oh wow, look, he looks like a gunslinger with that on. It's like, how do you get that? Do you do a cool quest? Do you find it in like some ancient tower or something? No, you just go to the website and put in your credit card. And it's like, I don't like that at all. I hate it. It's like, please just charge for other stuff. I'm probably the crazy one that's like, I'd rather them charge for like XP boosts.
Yeah, I think we've had this argument way in the
Yeah.
past where, especially when it came to something like Maple Story, you know, a blast from the past. We argued like, oh, I like when they charge for cosmetics because I don't like any of their fucking cosmetics anyways. And you're like, no, I'd rather people pay to like, I don't know, level up 10 levels in like a day
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I'm like, that one feels more cheaty to me, so.
Doesn't WoW had something where like you could start at level 58 or something, or level 60 and
Okay,
like skip
58 I think was the level start when you had a Death Knight. And there was a boost. I think, okay, I don't remember how it worked in WoW. And I saw that Fallout 76 also offers that.
for level 20, I think, right?
Yeah, like if you've already played a character or something. I think what would work for me personally, allowing like, oh, you can just go ahead and be level 60 or whatever level, is only if you've already played that character up to said level.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know if this happens in WoW or any other game, you shouldn't allow a person to skip ahead in a particular class if they haven't played that class at all.
Yeah, because like you're gonna get overwhelmed with the level 60s like spell
Abilities,
book,
yeah.
book abilities. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I get it, but for me, I'd rather people be able to pay for dumb stuff like that than like locking out content. Because if they're paying to skip 50 levels, they're paying to skip content. I'd rather them pay to skip content than to have to pay for content that you're just not going to be able to access anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I never liked that. And it's like, I mean, I don't get why people would do that because for WoW, especially, like for me, the fun is leveling up, going through all the different low level areas and seeing all the adventures and quests and stuff you can do. Paying to just be level 60 and to go to the level 60 zones, it's like,
Yeah, again, that only makes sense if you've already gone through those zones
Yeah,
and you've
fair
already
enough.
experienced that class.
yeah. But I don't know. That's not. For
There was
me.
also the thing in WoW where if you got to the end levels organically, I guess, that if you built a new character, I forget exactly how you accessed it, but you could get special armor and weapons that
Yeah.
would like super increase the buff.
Yeah, it would be like a I think there was like armor and weapons. And
Heirloom items, I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
was
yeah.
called.
and they would be special in the sense that they would level with you. So when you're wearing it at level 10, it would have level 10 stats. Then
And it would always like be the equivalent of blue items or something.
yeah, yeah. So not only would you have good stats, but it also boost the XP you would earn. That was kind of neat, I guess. But again, for me, part of the fun is as you're leveling, ooh, I got this cool new sword. But if you got the heirloom sword, well, then nothing is going to be as good as your heirloom sword. So that takes a lot of the fun out of basically half the rewards you get from quests. So,
I guess it all depends on what the player wants.
yeah, I mean, exactly. For me, I just the adventure, the looting, all the cool stuff that you get is the fun. So starting a game with like you have a super shirt and a super sword and some super shoes, and you're never gonna want to replace them until you hit max level. It's like, well then, when I'm doing quests for this person, it's like, oh, go please save my daughter from the ravaging wolfmen, and I'm gonna give you this sword if you do it, or maybe I'll give you these shoes, and I'm just like, I don't need this.
Here's a question though, and this is another thing connected to WoW. Maybe other games, but I haven't obviously played them. If you have an heirloom item that grows with you, right? But, oh, you got this quest item, and maybe you don't need it for the stats, but you want to change how it looks. Doesn't WoW have, like, now the second slot so you can change how something looks? Would that work?
Yeah, they have transmog. I don't know how. I don't remember how WoW handles it. If it's cheap to do, some games it's like free to just transmog, and some games you have to like jump through some hoops. On one hand, yes, I guess that could work if all you care about is the looks, which I mean I do. I'm definitely one of those for Monster Hunter, Fashion Hunter, or like for Dark Souls, like Fashion Souls. But I also still like playing with different things that have different stats and just like changing my build to fit it, or like, oh, maybe this sword does a cool thing, like it does bleed stuff, so maybe I'll like tool around my things so I can like maximize that. So if my sword or whatever is doing the same thing at every level, just getting slightly stronger automatically, it's not as fun for me.
I guess there's basically no setup that would work for
Everyone, yeah, everyone's gonna have their different opinions on this, and it's like, oh, whatever.
Because now I'm thinking, like, oh, what if WoW had set it up where, like, you could get an heirloom item that would make it faster to level up, but maybe it was an amulet. That way you could use whatever weapons you come across.
They do actually have a few that are, like, in the accessory slots that don't change how you look or change the weapon that you're using. And I remember I would use that one, because it's like, well, it's just a necklace, and, like, those usually just do stats. Well, yeah, but I'm just
saying, like, okay, the amulet, say every item that you get, like, increases your XP by, I don't know, 10% or something. But if you got the amulet, you're stuck at only doing the 10%. Whereas, like, someone who's geared up to the fucking gills, like, doubles the rating or something. What if you just had none of the extra heirloom items, you only had the amulet for everyone that increases it by, like, 50% or something?
I guess.
I'm sure someone would hate that idea, so whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, people will even say, like, well, you don't have to use these things. And yeah, I mean, when I played, I tried not to. But yeah, it just depends on how much you want to replay those WoW areas anyways, too. Like, I don't know, sometimes it was fun just to, like, go through the Barrens and do the Baron quests again or whatever, but...
For all I know, fucking WoW has like 150 levels to get through a second time or something.
God, yeah, we haven't played in forever.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, I remember like one of the last update we were playing through, Sylvanas was the war chief, I guess. Because Garrosh Garrosh, was it Garam? No, it was Garrosh. Yeah, he was already like a raid boss at that point. And then like the next update, Sylvanas did something and she became a raid boss, and like we got a new war chief. I don't know who the new war chief is now.
It's a fucking mess, whatever.
And again, it's one of those, like, I don't know if you would call WoW a live service game since it's a subscription based game, but like it's a game that will never end.
It updates, right?
Yeah, it's a forever game that they continuously update. The war will never end in World of Warcraft, because if the war ends, the profits end.
Yeah.
So that's a sad thing too.
Because like half their storyline was just absolutely fucked up because they had to come up with reasons to make the Alliance continue to hate the Horde and vice versa.
Yeah.
So all these like NPC characters in the role of like ruling the Alliance or ruling the Horde would always make the stupidest fucking mistakes so that the other side continued to hate them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like in all media, like back in the well, I don't want to say back in the day, but I will say back in the day just for shorthand. Stories, like you would develop a story and you need to think about the ending. Like, how is this story going to end? Is it going to be a sad ending? Is it going to be heart-wrenching? Is it going to be shocking like The Mist? Or whatever, right? But it's going to end.
You're not allowed to end anymore.
Now it's like with certain media things, WoW will never end. The war will always continue. There will never be a happy ending no matter what. Peace will never be. Like, when you played like Warcraft 2 or 3 or read the stories of that era, right? And you read about Thrall and how Thrall was trying to make peace and something would always happen, but like there was hope there. Like maybe there is hope for peace. But WoW, because it's like everyone's paying monthly, we're not going to just be like, okay, guys, here's the happy ending. The game's over.
You're not allowed to have hope anymore.
Yeah, now
you
it's
just know
like,
it's going to be stupid bullshit.
Yeah, and it really is, because at some point they've run out of ideas, and they're like, well, what if we went back in time? It's like, we're going to go back in time and experience the war before. And it's like, dude, it's just, I don't know, man.
And like, at this point in time, at least for where we live and the time that we live in, we need stories that actually give us hope, because we're not allowed to have hope in real life anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, even like just watching Andor and stuff like that, yes, it's a good show, but it doesn't give me hope anymore.
Well, I mean, at least for Andor, the story, it's going to end.
Yeah, it's going to end because everyone fucking dies.
So we know it ends. It's not going to go on forever. That's
not hopeful either.
But Star Wars is another series where it's like, well, this is a cash cow. We're going to keep making new Star Wars stories. So it's like,
well, they bought it for how many billions of dollars? They need to get their money back.
So you get
same with Marvel.
You get the happy ending at the end of the Return of the Jedi, and you know you get Skywalker looking up at his young dad again in the sky with Obi-Wan and all that stuff, and it ends on a note of hope. And then like you get some of the series, like I think Mandalorian takes place post Return of the Jedi, and it's cool to see like, oh look, now the people that are patrolling the skies and stuff is like, you know, the X-Fighters and stuff. It's like you get to see the world in this and like tell smaller stories, like, because there can still be conflict and stuff after peace, like the big Imperial War is over, but there's still small stories of like little pockets of adventure and intrigue or whatever, and that's fine. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's when it's like, oh no, we need to make another big one, so guess what? Palpatine is back, and he's like a zombie or something, and like all this other shit's happening. It's like, that is bad. That is the
and they
bad
did
shit.
have the like alien guy for like 3 movies or something. I don't know what the fuck his deal was.
We watched two of the 3
we
new
never
trilogy.
Finished
we
it,
never finished it because it's like,
this is fucking dumb.
I don't know, man. I didn't like it. I
don't think anyone else did either.
Some people really hated the second movie, and then some of the people that thought the second movie was okay really hated the third movie, and it's like,
it just gets worse.
Nobody was happy. So, I don't know, man. It's tough. Like, I really like The Mandalorian, and I really like Andor.
I mean, yes, Andor is good. It's just depressing as shit, and it's showing, I don't know. It's too connected to what's going on right now in real life, and that just makes it worse.
Because the story of Star Wars was about a fascist empire.
And now it's happening, so, like, what the fuck?
This story was really interesting in the way of, like, okay, what if we look into the inner workings, the political systems of that fascism, and the people that get caught up in it, and they think they're doing good in the system to be safe, and, like, how it bites them in the ass, and all the political stuff. Yeah, I love that. Like, the stories of the individual people being cogs in this terrible machine. It's not so much about the Emperor and his magical lightning. It's about the people who are just, like, living their lives here. And, like, maybe they are, you know, just regular people in the city that got caught up into the fascist wave. Because, surprise, we have that in real life, too. Regular people that are being brainwashed by fascism. So, like, their lives and how, like, that one dude's mother was like, oh, don't go there. Look at the news. It's bad there, right? All that stuff is so good. Andor is a fantastic show. And yes, it is kind of depressing because we were living through some crazy times now. But I don't know, man. I want more stories like that and less stories about the magical space wizard that has, like, his clone and, like, only the super magical night people can stop him.
Also, maybe this is gonna be another hot take. I don't know. It depends on like who listens to this. But like, okay, again, Andor is good. I'm not shitting on it, but I'm sick of just all these humans fucking doing things. Like, this is sci-fi. You'll get some aliens in like the background, but it's always fucking humans. Like, let's have some diversity in this with like aliens.
Yeah, you would.
Oh, I'm sorry. The only diversity we have is the fucking like android guy, which like fine, he's cool, but it's just like I guess it's because it's too expensive to have like non-humans doing things, but
Yeah, maybe you would like something like Mass Effect because yeah,
oddly I couldn't get into it, and I couldn't get into it, and I don't know why I can't get into it. It's
I
just
don't
like,
remember why. You probably just bounced off the gameplay because Mass Effect 1 is kind of janky.
that probably didn't help. Like,
But
oh, not a fucking shooty game.
Mass Effect is a story like that where like the aliens are basically in control of the galactic democracy that they have because they've been there first. Humans are the new people in the club.
Yeah.
The humans basically just joined the space EU. So they don't have a lot of power and like the other races are like we don't trust them yet, they fought a war with these other people and like yeah, but they attacked us and it's like there's really good stories there. And part of that is like okay, granted you have to play as a human, but part of that is like humanity's role in this new thing and how will you help. Will you be the type that's like, well, humanity deserves to be up there, or will you be like, we're gonna try to work all together and like, it does really good until I mean the finale of the third game, whatever. But ultimately, I think the stories in Mass Effect, again, the smaller stories especially, and the character stories are really good and explore a lot of that. Like, you're gonna be talking to a lot of aliens in that game.
Do you think anyone's made a compilation of just the cutscene stuff in Mass Effect? Because maybe I could watch the story and understand it without having to do the whole Rudy Tooty point and shooty shit.
It's tough because it's an RPG with so many choices.
Well, okay. You say choices. Is it the first game or which game is it where it's like you have three choices: good, neutral, bad?
I mean, okay, yes, this is an early RPG that did the whole like choices where it was very color coded and dumb in that sense. Like, oh, you can do the blue option, which is the Paragon. That's the good stuff. Or you can be more of a renegade and choose the red options and like punch the reporter for asking you questions and stuff like that. And it's very dumb in that sense. I think they try to get better at that later on, but like, yes, it's definitely more interesting in a game like Boulder's Gates or other games where the choices aren't always obvious. Like, what is the good option? What is the bad option? Or Fallout New Vegas. Like, there is a karma system in that game, but it's more about what you're choosing. So, like, if you do good karma stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean you're picking the best outcome for everybody.
Yeah, because, like, even if you make a supposed good choice, other people are going to be upset by that.
Yeah. And
now,
like,
granted, maybe those other people getting upset by your good choice are just assholes.
Like,
anyways,
here's a question, not to spoil New Vegas, but there's a quest in New Vegas where you find a vault that's leaking radiation. It's leaking radiation into New Vegas's irrigation system, so a lot of their crops are dying. They're like, can you go figure out what's going on in that vault? You go into the vault and you find out that there's actually survivors in that vault and they're locked away in a section of that vault that you can't get into. And they're like, you can't come in here or whatever because whatever reason they're in there and they're not coming out and they're just minding their own business, but their thing is leaking radiation. So you have the choice. Are you going to let these people be and just let the people above ground deal with this radiation and like figure out what else they can do? Or are you going to be like, there's like 10 people in here and there's, hundreds in Vegas that we have to save. And it's stuff like that.
It's a numbers game from the get-go.
It's kind of like a trolley games thing. But
it's like, are you saying like, okay, to stop the leak, I have to like just latch them in there for the rest of their lives?
I'm not going to...
I'm assuming, okay, I'm just pulling this out of my ass since I don't know at the actual game. So no spoilers because I'm just guessing. If it's leaking radiation and they're already irradiated, then just lock it up and let them live their irradiated life because, like, you're probably not going to be able to help them anyways.
The people inside aren't. They're in a separate part of the vault that's not contaminated.
Okay, so they're not irradiated.
Anyway, that's
It's still a numbers game. I'd have to lock them in.
anyway. So that's like, stories like that are more interesting than just like, are you going to be a good person and talk to the reporter, or are you going to be an evil renegade and just punch her? Like, that's boring.
I'm honestly surprised in real life we're not to that punching part yet, but
Anyway, so RPGs are fun for that, and I like the more complicated stories of, like, again, like in Andor or like New Vegas. But there's still some fun to have in games like Mass Effect, and there are still some interesting stories that Mass Effect itself will tell about certain things that you can kind of guide people into doing. Like, one of the people you recruit in the second game is responsible for kind of a biological genocide.
oof.
And, like, you don't know that at first.
Oh, is this what something about like the sickness?
Yeah, it's really good. And, like, in the third game, you can decide, does he deserve to redeem himself? Can he do the thing? Can he not do the thing? What's going to happen? And it just has so many options of what you can do. And again, that's why it would be hard to just watch a video of, like, this is the Mass Effect story, because, like, depending on how you play it, there can be so many different things. Mass Effect is great, though. Like, I know the first one's a bit janky in the gameplay, but I don't know, man. There's a reason it's popular. And I think it does live up to the hype. Anyway, I'm surprised we were able to talk this much about RPGs and stuff, and we didn't even get to the other games that you played, because you played a few that we were going to talk about.
That's fine. We can save it for next week.
Sounds good. In that case, that'll be it for this episode, huh? Unless there's any last things you want to get out there.
No, I'm good for now. We'll try to play more of the Fallout 76 and do a quick checklist of things I can bring up about the other game next week or something.
Yeah, maybe I'll play something new too.
And the other game actually is only 4 hours, so if you want to like play that too, and then we can have more of a discussion of it instead of just like, hey, this is a game that maybe you should play.
No, thank you.
Like, I won't want to.
It's fine.
Whatever.
You can. There's plenty of games where I've played that you haven't played, and we still talk about it. It's fine.
I guess, but you're better at talking about them than I am.
Oh, you. Anyway, no, thank you. I saw you play it, and I don't know, it's just not my kind of thing.
Of course. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, take care, be good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.